Is life unfair because there's inequality? Are there lucky coincidences in life, or is it destiny? In this episode of the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi explains the answers to these questions based on his thinking on randomness and chance. We use the Korean drama Crash Landing on You to frame the conversation.
Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast, episode 69.
Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Solanas, and I'm joined by our very special guest, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi.
Hi, Chuck.
We are excited to have you on for another episode of asking questions from movie series, or this was really a TV show. It's called Crash Landing on You. And the reason I actually watched this was because of your recommendation to watch South Korean drama, because apparently it is the best type of like TV genre there is. That's what you said.
The Koreans, I don't know what it is, but they know how to make a drama. And they know how to act as well. But when you start looking at like Japanese dramas, they can make a story, but Japanese, they don't know how to do it. And the acting is not nearly as good. The Chinese are decent, but I don't know what it is. The Koreans are just professional at it. They just know exactly what to put in. They have it down to an art, to a T. So it's crazy.
Oh, yes, and I really enjoyed it. The series. It was the second highest grossing television series for a Korean drama, which is pretty great. So fairly popular. It came out in February 2020. Anyway, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about this series because it's very interesting how it all plays out. I like seeing the life of North Korea, but I'm also a little saddened, like you see a lot of inequality, especially comparing to our own culture, like in the United States, how it is to live in like North Korea and really seeing that. So what is your take on like inequality?
Like, do I think inequality exists? Yes. What do you mean my take on inequality? Like, do I like it? I mean, it's not a question if I like it or I don't. It happens and it does exist, and it does exist in every single country you've ever been in. Is the inequality in countries like North Korea that is a little bit a country that's more controlling? Is there a larger inequality? Oh, definitely. Right. When there's a monarchy, it's going to be very top rich, and there's going to be a very big disparity between the poorest and the richest. What else are you?
Do,
What are you trying
do
to
you
ask?
think it could do you think it could be fixed? Do you think that inequality could ever go away?
No, inequality will never go away. And the reason why I say that is based on historical data. There is no time in history where I've ever seen it documented where equality exists among a large population. So, no, do I think it could ever go away? No. Even as much as we try, it will never happen.
So like where it's more of like a communist type of government where everyone gets like an equal income and stuff like that, you still think inequality would exist in that structure?
Oh, definitely. Because it can never happen exactly that way. And even when you Russia at the time, where it was it was very communist type government. It never happened that way. There's always the people who are in power will have a lot more than the people who are not in power.
Yeah.
Just how life works.
Okay.
Keep
Yes.
asking me these questions on this, because you're trying to get to something else, which is the real question you're trying to ask me is inequality a bad thing?
Okay.
And no, inequality is not a bad thing. Mainly because even though there might be a great inequality of wealth, money doesn't necessarily make people happy or not. And this is something that's portrayed in this movie very well, is that people can still be happy even though they might not have a lot. And I think anyone who's been around the world or has seen or has experience in the different inequalities of the world and has gone into poor environments or richer environments, very few times do you have it to the point where it's so unequal that the money that you have makes you happy. A lot of times people think that, but it's not the case. There are some instances where you don't have enough to even eat. There's no food or whatnot, and yes, that's a lot tougher in our day and age right now, because there's so many good sharing people, kind people. Most of the time, if you're hungry in the world, you can find food. There are a lot of countries that can't do that, but the majority of countries can. So really, as long as you have enough to eat and you have a decent shelter, I've seen people with almost nothing be very happy.
I actually read this study on how it compared like people that had shelter, food, and water, but were in the lowest demographic for economics, and their happiness levels were compared with the average college student, and they were higher than the average college student in the U.S.
Yeah.
That
And
says something.
because everyone's different, and sometimes you have less. Your life is a little bit more simple, and if everybody else around you has the same amount of wealth as you don't know the difference sometimes. And so it's even easier for you to be happy with your lifestyle and how you live. So inequality is something that is a part of reality. It's neither good nor bad. There are things that we can do to help people who have less, especially those who don't have food or whatnot, which is good to be that type of person who wants to help. But yeah, it's just something that's different, neither better nor worse.
And you don't believe it's unfair?
No, I can't believe it's unfair. Everybody has their own thing in life that they have to learn. Because of my take on life, I believe the purpose of life is to figure it out. It's to figure out how to be happy. And some people need to be able to figure out how to be happy with a lot of wealth, and some people need to learn to be able to be happy with not a lot of wealth.
Does this presuppose the idea that there needs to be life before this life or after this life?
I don't know if it requires you to have that belief or not.
Okay. Well, just because if you're saying some people need to try and figure out how to be happy under lower conditions, and other people have to figure out that under higher conditions, it kind of assumes the fact that there is a purpose to the position.
Yeah, I believe everyone is different, and hence being different, and what your strengths and weaknesses are depends on the type of trials you have to go through. And I do believe that as you go through your life, everything you experience is somehow related with who you are. And And as we've talked about in other podcasts, so you know what, whether it's in, I don't know which one's harder. You know, whether it's being in a very rich environment with a lot of pressures growing up because your parents want you to be a high achiever, want you to go to Ivy League university, and you got all these expectations put on you, or being raised in a family with nothing and your expectation is only to grow up and to work in a field or work, you know, in the family business, whatever it might be, just to survive. I don't know which one's harder.
Okay. So you're saying that everyone has their lot in life, and based off of that lot in life, you got to figure out how you can be happy with it.
Yes, and your lot is determined by who you are, what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, what you don't understand, what you do understand.
Well, because it has to be related, right? Like you, yeah.
If
Anyway,
you believe in chance and randomness, and you believe in natural laws like I do, then yes, it has to be related in some way.
based off of this movie, there's a lot of lucky coincidences and bad coincidences. And I know that they talk about the difference between destiny and coincidence, even in the series. So, what is your take on destiny or coincidence?
Yeah, so for those listening that hasn't seen this drama series, basically this woman is flown into is doing that gliding paragliding thing, lands in North Korea, and just so happens to be lucky enough to get through all the security people and get to this village, and just so happens to meet this person that is going to be really nice to her, hide her, and then help her get back to South Korea. Do I think that is just a coincidence? Well, like I said, if I believe in natural laws and I believe people govern their own destinies, then no, there's no such thing as coincidence. And everybody does have a destiny, it means. And this is what I think is really funny about many dramas and even like Disney movies. It's like everyone looks at them and say, well, it's fake, you know, it's fictitious, it's made up. But in my mind, it's not made up. A lot of times people look at their life and they're thinking, well, this isn't like a Disney movie at all. I don't have a happy ending. The only issue is people just don't know where they are in the movie. Most people, when they're saying, my life isn't like a Disney movie, they think they're at the end of the movie, but they're not. The end is when everything's happy. But most Disney movies and dramas, in the middle, it's never happy. I mean, when you really look at the Disney princesses and the type of things they had to go through, yeah, these are really bad things they had to go through. Being shut away in a tower till you're like, how old was Rapunzel? Like
18.
18. Being shut away in a tower, she wasn't able to go outside and she was stolen from her family. I mean, that's not that's not like an easy thing to go through. I mean, the Disney movie kind of makes it seem like it was okay, but it's not, right? That would be a really, really tough life. And she only gets a happy ending at the end after she has to exert a lot of effort and a lot of courage to do things and the potential of losing everything she loves. So, and it's every movie. You know, you look at Beauty and the Beast, you look at Little Mermaid, Aladdin. I mean, all these people who have happy endings, they're all coming from really tough environments, tough scenarios where they lose almost everything in their life. So, same way with, you know, like this crash landing is a lot of times we look at and we say, well, this is coincidence or this isn't even real life. It never happens like this in real life. And what I want to tell people is it does happen like this in real life. If you really go look in people's lives, how many coincidences that they ran into in their life, especially older people, how many coincidences in meeting, you know, their significant other, in being able to get their job, in being able to survive, even not die. and like things that their children have gone through and whatever. The only reason we think it's just a coincidence or by chance is we just don't know enough. But as you go through life, as you listen to people, as you watch things more, you start to realize that no, nothing's a coincidence in life. There are certain people who always seem to find good luck, and there are certain people who, they don't find the good luck for some reason. And there's a very good reason for that.
And the reason is?
Well, one of the reasons is a lot of the natural laws aren't really taught in school that we need to know. For example, one of the natural laws I think in life is that when you are a person with a heart set on helping others and adding value to society, the natural law of that is, even though you make mistakes and things happen, you tend to find other people who also want to help and add value. Hence, you're more likely, if you land in North Korea by accident, if you're a person who likes to service other people, help other people, and add value to society, you're more likely to run into a captain, what's his name, that's willing to help you, right?
Definitely. Okay. Good ideas. So you're saying that if you are a person that has good intentions, that is constantly trying to do the right thing, is constantly following these natural laws of people, of success, then they're going to find it.
Yes, and they might make mistakes, and they might have other attributes that cause them to go through rough times or get in sticky situations. But as they're going through those sticky situations, they will tend to attract other people who are nice and kind and want to help and want to add value to society.
All right, great stuff. Appreciate the perspective and thank you for your time. Thank you, listeners, for listening and viewers for watching. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. It would be great if you could take a moment to write us a review. For any questions, comments, or topics that you would like to have addressed on the show, email the team at leadaz.org. To learn more about the Leadership Society of Arizona, visit us at leadaz.org.